Alison Deshelle from Waffle TV, and we're here today at the Missoni Hotel with the boy with tape on his face, who is a stand-up comedian and kind of mime. But you're quite different to. I've not really seen any other acts like you. I don't really know what the collective term for what you do is.
Neither do I, which is the weird thing. I kind of describe myself. I am a stand-up comedian who doesn't talk, and I always avoid the mime word because I don't like when you think of a mime. You always think of the whole walking against the wind, stripy top kind of thing. I wear the stripy top maybe as a kind of nod to it, but I wouldn't really call it a mime show.
Yeah. You might remember him from the Royal Variety performance last year. I'm actually a really massive fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I came and saw you at Late and Live last year, and you were brilliant.
The Late and Live shows are really fun because it's 2:30 in the morning and the crowds are a wee bit more, I don't know, enthusiastic is one word. They're really, really fun shows.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your show.
The show this year, it's completely different to last year's show. That was one of my goals, is to not do any material from the previous show. It's just the same, really, and the sort of if you know what I do, and the getting people out of the audience, interacting with them, and making props and doing silly things. It's just like that, but bigger and louder and more over the top. Yeah.
So do you find it quite difficult to come up with material because you can't speak?
The writing process is longer. I think I get a wee bit jealous of other comedians who can, sit down in a cafe and write for 3 hours and then go, well, that's 15 minutes of material done. Whereas for me, I will spend about 3 months working on something that'll be about 3 minutes long. And then sometimes I'll work on things for about 6 months that will end up in my rubbish bin. Yeah.
So what was it that made you want to get into performing in comedy?
I think I accidentally got into this just because I didn't really have any other jobs. I was a street performer for a while, and I got into street performing through doing magic tricks as a kid. And then once I sort of started street performing and doing that, I found other ways of getting work doing entertaining stuff, and then I realised I didn't have any real qualifications, and then I just had to keep doing this and keep bluffing my way through it.
You wanted to be a juggler in Vegas, I hear.
Juggler, that was when I was about 14 or 15, and I was mad for juggling, so I learnt every sort of aspect of juggling, from juggling clubs, rings, fire, and all that whatnot. And then I learnt about the freak shows, and I thought, I'll be a freak show circus guy, that'll be good. And I've always had these ideas of, this would be a great job, I'll do that. And then I'd do it for a wee bit and go, no, it's not a great job, I need to change, and then find something else. Yeah.
So have you been to see any acts so far, or are you going to see any?
I'm trying to see more. I'm normally pretty bad because I'm working all over the place doing shows and bits and bobs, but I'm making it a point this Edinburgh to see some shows, so I am going to get out there and see as much as I can. Yeah.
Brilliant. So how did you come up with the whole boy with tape on his face? It's just such an original thing. How did it actually come about?
It came about because I do another show where I talk a lot. That was when I did my circus sideshow kind of comedy, and it was very prop-based, audience interaction stuff as well, but with a lot of talking and a lot of tricks. And after doing that in New Zealand for several years, I just got bored talking, so I decided to do a show where I didn't talk at all. And I went on stage and I did this little routine, and it didn't work because I ruined it because I spoke to the audience. And so I came back the next night and I put a big bit of gaffer tape over my mouth to get rid of the urge to talk. So it was more out of necessity than actually, I don't know, thinking of it as a character choice. So.
Yeah, and you performed at the Royal Variety. That must have been absolutely amazing. Were you really nervous?
That was possibly the strangest line-up show I've ever been a part of. Yeah, it was certainly odd to be walking down a hallway and going, there's Barry Manilow, and there's all these other huge famous people with all their big entourages, and here I am holding 2 rubbish bags with balloons and my oven gloves, and Nicole, what's her name, Scherzinger, she was the act on before me, and it's that thing where you're standing in the wings going, I've got to go on after her, this is ridiculous. But it was amazing, it was really, really cool.
Yeah. So do you have any sort of little routines or good luck things you do before you go on stage?
The only thing I do that's a really good, most people don't ask that sort of thing. I tape the venue. I always hide a bit of gaffer tape in every venue. Yeah. So in venues all over the country and all over the world, normally have a tiny bit of gaffer tape somewhere in them. So it's kind of like a little wee tag.
Whereabouts do you put them?
Various places. I hide them I try and put them in places where if I come back to the venue, I'll see them and then I'll go, that's my venue. Yeah. I've got it.
So what sets performing at the Fringe apart from performing in different cities and different venues?
What's that?
What's different about performing in Edinburgh?
It's harder because I think so, because there's always that weird pressure of panic of you trying to create excitement around shows and that sort of thing, and it feels like you've got to jump in. It's very much jumping into a massively deep, cold swimming pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas sometimes when you go to a festival, you can kind of ease into it and whatnot. But because there are just so many thousands of shows here, all fighting for the audiences, it's a bit of a fight, but it's fun. Yeah. It's like a boxing match, but with big boxing gloves.
Alright, okay. So, what exactly, sorry, I've completely lost myself. Which is a really good question. Yeah, do you get any problems from hecklers at all?
I'm lucky enough that most people don't heckle me,
yeah.
because I think everyone realises that I can't speak to them back, and I think the audience have that mentality where if you were to heckle me, it would be the equivalent of kicking a puppy. There's no satisfaction in it. I'm not going to do anything, and the audience kind of police themselves, which is nice, because if the heckler yells out something horrible, the audience around them are going to kind of turn on them pretty quick. And also, I don't think it's the show that has hecklers normally. I think Late and Live would be the closest to maybe getting a heckler.
Are you performing at Late and Live this year?
I have got a couple of spots at Late and Live this year.
What dates are you doing?
I'm not too certain off the top of my head. I get my calendar. I check my calendar kind of a couple of days beforehand and go, okay, psychologically get ready for that fight.
So do you have to practice your facial expressions and everything for the show, because they're very intimidating?
No, I wouldn't say intimidating mine. I'm lucky enough to have reasonably large eyes, and I think when you put a bit of gaffer tape over half your face, it just makes everything else look a wee bit scarier maybe. But no, I do not stand in front of a mirror practicing.
Yeah. So why should people come and see your show?
Because I like it. it's fun. It's a fun show. That just come and see it. It's silly, fun, and nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to come and see the boy with tape on his face, he will be performing at the Pleasance Courtyard until the 27th, but not on the 14th, at 9:40 p.m. I'm listening to Shale, and you've been watching Waffle TV. Thank you. That was brilliant. Cheers for coming.